Hey guys, it's Michael and welcome back to Boxmining. We got
Ron.
All right, guys. So 2025, huge year for crypto and everything here. But of course, you gotta pay attention to the narratives that are gonna come in place. Because when people talk, everyone loves one thing a lot.
Yes.
And it explodes. And then we get something that's like a massive price rise, like with Mantra DAO, with the RWA narrative. But there's more top narratives that are gonna come into play. What we did in this video is we are both gonna talk about our favorite narratives that are coming into place, and then we're gonna have a discussion at the end. So anyways, that's what we're gonna target for this video. We're gonna talk about the top narratives and what the key projects leading up to them. There's actually gonna be 2 videos. We cut this into 2 videos. We actually realized the content's just a lot of content. So make sure you stay tuned for part 1 and part 2 of the video. And without further ado, guys, let's get started. Everything covered here is my personal opinion, not financial advice. Let's go. Perfect timing for this to talk about the next narrative. We talked about it a little bit already, the mantra, the RWA, real world assets mantra. So mantra, I didn't sell at all. Like I know it's crazy, but I've been hodling this for like a little bit of time, and
Since $1, right?
less than $1
Less
actually.
than $1.
Like funny story, right? We were actually involved very early on. We actually got out very early on, and I was like, oh, this doesn't look right. It's okay. And then I actually reduced my allocation for this, but then it really took off.
Yeah.
So Mantra is just insane. So Mantra real world asset narrative is really strong because look, at the end of the day, crypto is in a little bubble. All right, the digital asset space, we're in a little bubble. We're saying, look, we have trillions, but how do we get the mega trillions, right? How do we have access to real estate? How do we have access to stocks? How do we take over the world? And that's Mantra, that's RWA, real world assets. How do you combine assets and how do you put them on chain? Because something that we saw, right? Like in terms of this entire narrative, how like something that we saw is that there's a convenience of trading crypto. I think that's what really took over for a lot of people too. It's like when people realize, oh, crypto's 24-hour trading, there's global access to everyone. And I feel like that's where that's not really explored in terms of real world assets. Like you see people trying to push like the stocks or something globally, it's hard. But the fact that you can buy Ethereum and have global access to everyone, that's really, really huge. Real world assets, they never really had that global exposure before. So yeah, so that narrative for RWA is freaking huge.
Yep.
Right? And it's one of the ones that excites a lot of traditional investors. I think RWA, if you look at how Mantra grew, it grew like with these explosions that move, like that coincide with like hundreds of millions of dollars moving into this coin, right?
Yeah.
And that can only really come not from just the retail space, but from the family offices. Like you look at the big family offices in Dubai, they understand real estate, right? They don't really understand all this digital funny money internet stuff, but they understand, yeah, yo, you put this property on this, you put this stock here, then you leverage that and you do whatever yield. They're really good at that, right? And they have a lot of money. So I think that's what's happening here in the background is that it's got a lot of attention with the Dubai audience, with the rich people audience. I think that's where it's like gonna capture like the 1% of the 1% love this shit.
The old money rich.
The old money rich.
Yeah. I mean, they recognize tokenization of real world assets.
Yes.
Tokenization part, leveraging
and how to
ledger
extract
technology.
more money from that, and then use the extracted money to build up even more money, right? That's how traditional has always worked.
Yes.
And
exactly.
It's very interesting because like immediately, if you talk to anyone who's from old money, they're just thinking about that. Like, how much can you get back on your Bitcoin? Like I talk to people like that are older investors. They're like, oh, okay, let's say I put $1 million in Bitcoin. How much can I get back immediately? I'm like, what? Is that your first question? No, I thought we just buy and hodl. You know, like, am I missing something here? They're like, oh, how do I leverage this? You know, they're immediate. Like, how many percent do I get back? I'm like, okay, you can go on compound and probably get like 50-60% back. But you know, like. That's the first question they ask.
Yeah.
That's the first question they ask. They're like, how much can I back? How much will the bank give me back on this? How do I leverage this and like use that as collateral for something else, right? That's the first question. So I feel like that's the RWA people. RWA people cater to that 1%, and we'll see more explosive growth. I think like The crazy part is with Mantra is that they work really well. They basically combined with their biggest competitor and then just like made themselves bigger. Global audience, guys. Global audience, real world assets, own money. That's actually pretty exciting.
Yeah.
For them, trillions are nothing.
Yeah.
Let's throw a T inside.
This is not the top. This is just the beginning.
This is the beginning, bro.
We don't have old money.
Own money. All right, what's next?
SocialFi. I think SocialFi will also be a key narrative, and this in a way relates to real world assets, not categorically, but how the social effect now is we can leverage on-chain technology to monetize creator economy, right? So when you're on X, you can still earn from ads, but you're not earning as much. You don't have much control over how much you earn.
Let me give you a very top-down example of this, right? So the issue with social right now is that it's controlling our daily lives, all right? The time that I spend on X, on Instagram, TikTok. So people are spending a lot of time, and obviously it's impacting how people spend. And the issue here is that traditionally speaking, we've been creating content, but the money goes not to us, but to Facebook or the platform. Like Facebook would be a good example of that. They were the most egregious because they gave us a way for us to connect to each other. They don't have to create any content, and then they farm the living shit out of us.
They're
right?
the first yield farmers.
The first yield farmers, right? They are the original first yield farmers, right? So just think about that. You are creating the content, you are entertaining your friends, and then Facebook is making all the money. Right? It doesn't make any sense. And this has always been a challenge. Like, how do we make social media by the people for the people? Right? And that was like kind of this attempt in crypto. We saw that there was a way to monetize posts, and we've seen the evolution of this, right? We've seen this with Steam It. That was kind of the first attempt that I got really involved in. It's kind of like Reddit, but with crypto. This is back in the day, okay? So this is like a Dan Larimer project. This is OG. And then you get posts and you actually get money on their posts, which is great. And it directly feeds the creators. But they didn't manage to really use their community. And I feel like we're much closer to unlocking the potential of this now because we have people who are good at building platforms, people who are good at building social. So SocialFi can take off. And I mean, another example was FriendTech. So you see crypto trying all these things to do it. But we haven't really broken into it like completely. But if there's something that can be the next Patreon, that's gonna be freaking amazing. So Lively, it's both on SocialFi, it's built on Base, so it's a lot cheaper than a lot of people, for people. And it basically create, get paid. It's not a hard concept to understand.
And Lively is like Patreon, but it's like on steroids. It's crazy because it's designed to make the content game work for everyone, not just the top 1% of creators. You don't need a registered business to get paid. Anyone in the world can monetize on Lively. And it had a very strong and very engaging campaign running throughout the years. Earlier this year, they were awarded the Social Platform of the Year award. They are backed by Phoenix Group, the 4th largest Bitcoin miner globally, with strong ties with the Abu Dhabi government. And a lot of content creators have already switched over to Lively, not just to create content, but to really build a community around their brand. As you can see, we have influencers, not just in Web3, but also across different industries coming into Lively. And very soon, Lively is gonna release their mobile V1 app. That's gonna make SocialFi a lot more accessible to everyday users. So you don't need to just have a PC in order to start earning from your posts and your content. So I think when SocialFi is really gonna start taking off in the bull run, Lively is well positioned in that spot.
So what we'll do is we'll post this video on Boxmining, but we'll also post them our community. So I'll make my profile, everyone makes their profile, and we'll become the largest community there to farm the most airdrops.
In fact, later on, we're gonna be able to create our own community in here.
Yes.
It's
a big circle. All right. Sounds good, guys.
Yes, sir. The token's already out, and it has been performing very well, even after the airdrop. So Lively, you can see, now it's at 16 cents. They have grown quite substantially, and they're now live in terms of centralized exchange on Gate.io, MEXC, and most recently Bitpanda. Okay, so that's for Lively.
So just the last, of course, the one that we need to really talk about is memes. Okay, so this one doesn't need explaining. You know, before I'll just say it from my perspective. Before I was thinking, okay, I only want to invest in coins that have value. Memes have no value, so I shouldn't invest in memes. But that's changed because we realize memes are social value. All right, memes are it's something that's social that grows and people just resonate. And what really changed my mind that made me really bullish on memes, all right, is when I saw the people that were going to conferences, the new ones, the new young guys that all look like fucking Jake Paul, and they're all trying to be wannabes. They only want to talk about memes. All right, the next generation, if you think about the next generation of investors that are coming in, they don't give a fuck about anything else other than memes. Okay, so regardless of what you think is the future, okay, so memes, that cycle is gonna be massive.
Yeah.
So all these narratives are gonna come in play next year, so you have to pay attention to all the narratives. And then something I want to talk with Ron is like, what are we excited for first? So I feel like the way crypto moves is that one narrative comes, then it kind of like peaks out, then another kicks in, and then it repeats, and it's like a rotation, right?
Yes.
So now the biggest question is, what's the first one that's gonna take off?
The first one, this is great because we actually talked about this yesterday. Our quant told us this. All right, so recently Mudang got listed on Coinbase, right? And our quant told us that Coinbase will probably list even more meme coins either this month or in January because the feds are expecting to cut rates.
So you're saying meme narrative is going to be the first one. It's currently the narrative, but it's still going to blow the fuck up more next year.
Yes, basically we position for the ones that could potentially be listing on Binance or Coinbase. So something in the range between 100 mil to 300 mil. That is considered the sweet spot, but not
strong trading volume, strong community.
Yes.
Virality.
So it needs to be very relatable to, shareable to. You have like a cult following that community. That's when you know it's evergreen. These are not the ones that will instantly rug pull. These are the ones that will stay on forever because of the social value, the culture. Then it comes to technique, right? How you trade these meme coins.
Right. So I feel like the Bitcoin narrative, it's gonna pop. Bitcoin Fi. It's gonna happen, right? And it's like it's not gathering as much steam as it should right now. Can you make me large?
Yeah.
But like I feel like that's the next one that can pop. It's the lowest hanging fruit, right? Anything Bitcoin Fi. I feel like Bitcoin narrative is my top pick, but the other ones are gonna heat up. So like whilst Bitcoin's narrative's heating up, SocialFi is gonna heat up. RWA is gonna heat up. So it's gonna be really sexy.
Yeah.
And with that, guys, that wraps up the first video. So this is video 1. There are more narratives coming as well. We summarized everything that we learned from everything from this year. So you should pay attention and make sure you're subscribed. More content is coming. On top of that, Alpha Drop runs like streaming nonstop every day on that. So if you want to be streaming and following the bleeding edge of everything as well, make sure to subscribe to Alpha Drop. And with that, guys, that ends the first video. Make sure to watch the second one. We'll see you there.